Hey again, this is me. Yeah, me. Um, just make another sig here. Basically what I'm doing is, standard size, blah blah blah, that jazz. And I just picked my render. It's gonna be Misfortune from League of Legends, and I'm just kind of making the background right now. Um, kind of going through it, and I'm isolating the render because I can't find an isolated one for me, and that's gay. So that's what I'm doing. Gonna duplicate that layer. This is gonna be a kind of a smudge tutorial, more or less. I kind of done it before in my other ones, but I don't know. I do it good in this one. So right now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make my smudge brush, blah. I'm basically gonna use the stock brushes from Photoshop, and it's gonna be the 36 millimeter, 36 in diameter chalk type brush, which is going to be towards the top. You're going to see me click on it. You can pause it if you need to, just see what brush it is. That's the best brush to smudge. And then you're going to go to the brush tools, and you're going to just play with scattering and jitter and transform to turn the opacity down. Get it just right, just to have a good, you know, random type brush. You're going to see me do this quite often. It's a good way to get good smudge brushes. And right now I'm just going to the background of the actual SIG, and going to basically just make the background to my liking. I'm just going to basically use the color that's already in that background, and then I'm just going to smudge the rest of it, so that you can get a good smooth background. It kind of gives it a cool effect. It's not difficult to do, and I did this while I was in the hospital, so I don't want things to be difficult. I'm not in the hospital, but somebody else. Never mind. So again, just finding a good brush. I like to change them a bit so you get different textures within them. And then you can kind of just mess with the blending settings. I do eventually change it to normal and I leave it there. Then I'm going to go to the filters and I'm going to actually sharpen it a little bit after I change the opacity, because I don't want the lighting that severe on it. And as you can see, what I'm doing now is I'm just basically going to the bottom render, and I'm just going to be smudging it to my liking, just to kind of give it a nice silhouette glow around the actual one, as you can see me doing that. And this also gives good lighting and brings depth to the SIG. So just play with the settings to your liking. It's up to you. Um, kind of just play with coloring to get the coloring blended better. And after I smudge, I like to go over the edge of the render that's going to be visible, and I like to use a very, very soft brush and just kind of delete just some of the edges so that it blends into the render a little bit more, and it just gives it better depth and a good look. So again, I'm just kind of going and I'm doing sharpening and now I'm doing a lighting effect. Actually, I'm not sharpening. I lied to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just going to find a good lighting effect, and a lighting effect can be used to, again, add depth, add different lighting to the SIG that it didn't have before. And it also will just do that one single layer, so you don't actually have to mess with brushes. And right now I just put an adjustment layer on there. What I did was I used I forgot which one it was. And yeah, so I'm just smudging the background right now, and forgive me if I sound annoyed. I just had to do this freaking voiceover twice. So I'm just going over and making the render. Actually, I'm smudging the render. And I'm going to find a C4D render, just so that it adds some lighting effects, and good lighting equals good SIGs. So, work on blending those C4D renders when you get them. Work on placement of layers, which I'm doing now. As you see, I put the C4D over the actual render of the subject, which is the Misfortune in there. So you want to just play with levels and not levels but layers, positioning, because if you place something under or over, it could have different effects. So remember that. And right now I'm just adding a central lighting effect or lighting source to the SIG, just to kind of give it that pop. It gives your eye something to look at, and also brings it down towards the render itself on that. And if you look right now, I'm just making dots. Sorry about that, guys. We had an interruption. Anyways, I'm just going to the background and I'm making dots to kind of just add some depth to it. This is just for, you know, pizzazz, for look, because, you know, again, this is all what you guys like, not me. It's your choice if you want to go and make these dots, change the opacity, change the levels in which they show up. I change the colors. I go in and I mess with the brushes just to kind of get them right. Play around with this. This is all just, you know, kind of like what you guys want, your choice. And then I go and I pick a color that's actually in the SIG, and I match it so that it works with the SIG flow and the coloring better. And that's always helpful. So right now I'm just going to go and I'm going to try and find another actual like C4D, not effect, but actual render, 3D render. And I went to my resources that I have on my computer. I just have a whole bunch of them saved, and the one I pick actually kind of, I think it's that one actually. Yeah, it gives a good particle effect. And notice my placement behind Misfortune. I didn't want to do it in front of her because it would just totally blow her away in terms of like it would just be too busy. So I made it subtle and I blended in using different colors or the same colors that are actually in the SIG, and so I kind of just place it behind her and make it look better that way, without actually taking away anything from her. So right now I'm just adding a grading effect, and that actually just kind of gives it a vintage thing. And remember to go back through your vector mask, which is the white, you know, mask that you see over it on the layer side. And I'm just going and I'm erasing things to not make it so intense and just make it look better. You know, to get my lighting right and such. And right now I'm just making a, I forgot what I was going to say, making a stroke, which is going to be the border of the actual render. And that's important, I think. I mean, some people don't like borders, some people do. I personally like them, so that's why I do them on most of the SIGs that you guys see me do. And most of my SIGs actually that you see me do are a request for people, and so this one was a request as well for a buddy of mine. And so right now I'm just kind of finding his name just to make sure I spell it right, because you don't want to spell somebody's name right if it's their SIG. That's stupid. But yeah, so I'm just going to go on and put some text in there. What I like to do with text is I like to get a thicker font, and I like to match the colors based on the colors that are in the SIG. So I'll find a font that I like, and then I'll go in after I get my placement down, and I'll kind of match colors using color overlay so that it works a little bit better that way, and it blends better and it's smooth and it flows. You can also add strokes. It's up to you guys. It's totally 100% up to you. So this is the finished product, and I hope you guys learned something. If you don't, sorry, I'll do better next time, I guess. So yeah, I'm done, and subscribe, comment, like, do all that jazz. Later.
Looking for a lady, yeah, I'm looking for a dame that I could give a baby and maybe my last name. Yeah. I could give a baby, 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 I could give a baby and maybe my last name. I'ma give a chick my last name, keys to my car, G-shot, black rims, burner rubber, smell the tar. Take her out the dinner, BBM her Blackberry, man. I f***ed around with a chick to roll my checks and all cran. I want a bad chick, pay your bills, get the ticket, do a show. 50,000 where she don't care to split it. Drive a Benzo in the drive, she paid in it all cash. Louis Vuitton, one night, Victoria's Secret on her. Clean the whip, buy the kicks, Jordan, you know all the colors. Going to go to shows, and she baby since my mother ripped the studio out. Arizona sweet tea, got my iPhone ready for me to spit out the green. The money, the stuff to pay up a style. Go home to my throne when she comes to think that a while. And if you play your cards right, you may end up with